Hello and welcome to our show, What's Your Story? And today we have a fabulous guest, an author by the name of Joan Peck. And so, Joan, what is your story?
Which story do you mean?
Which story? I always forget. You've got about 1 million of them. Joan is a pretty prolific writer. She writes amazing stories, and I've read, well, I haven't read one of the ones you brought here today, because it's the last one in a series that you've done, and I've read the first 5, so I'm really excited waiting for the sixth book, right?
Yeah.
So I want to ask you how you got started writing in the first place, especially the mystery series that you've been doing, because I know you did self-help writing before, and so just tell us all about you.
Okay, that's fun to get the stage here. I like it. Anyhow, I started the mystery stories because, first of all, I didn't think I could do it. I wasn't sure I could, because once you're writing with nonfiction, to switch to fiction is different. And I struggled a little in the beginning, I will tell you. But how I actually started was I went to a seminar. And as fate would have it, a friend of mine was supposed to go, couldn't make it, called me at the last minute, would you like to go? And I said, well, sure, I would love to. Because a gentleman from California was going to be there as one of the speakers, and he wanted to find out which of the stories that were written could be made into a movie. So he had all of us who were thinking of that come up front in front of everybody and tell them what our story would be about. Well, I was too shy to do it. I couldn't do it. And as fate would have it again, he was at my table at lunch. And so afterwards, I said to him, could I pitch my story to you? And he said, sure, go ahead. So I told him I wanted to write about a 32-year-old tarot card reader who every time the death card came up in a reading, there'd be murder, and she'd have to follow it. Her grandmother's spirit would come in and give her advice and love, and she would also have her dog be a character in the book. And of course, you as my friend know my dog, Sweet Pea, and she is in the book, and she is funny. Everyone who reads the book that knows her says she's the whole book, really. So if that's how I got started in it. And and once you begin to write the story, everything takes over. So you're just there along for the ride. You know?
I just find that amazing because, as you know, I've written a lot of self-help. I just can't figure out how to do what you do. I mean, because I don't know how you create these characters. It's amazing. They're like real people. I mean, I read the book and they're real people. You've got descriptions of them. You've got their personalities. It's just their friends, their life. It's all there. And I just and look how many you've written in the last few years. You've written about 7 or 8 books. You just knock these things out, and they're amazing.
Well, thanks, Judy. I appreciate that. But the characters really develop themselves. And that's, when I say I'm along for the ride, it does happen that way. They pop in, different characters pop in, and they become part of the story. And I write as if I see it. So I write it for movies. And I really was hoping that I would be one of these writers who would have my books in movies, made into movies.
I think you will.
So,
I believe when the right person discovers your books, they're going to be movies, because your books are incredible.
Well,
and I love your characters. I can identify with some of them.
Yeah, great. Thank you. Yes, I'm hoping so too. I mean, as my son would say, miracles happen every day. So.
Are you a bit interested in the paranormal? Because I found that in some of your books, I get a feeling of paranormal.
Well, to be honest, as a kid, I had a near-death experience. And so as a very young child, I was probably about 8 maybe, and I knew that there was more than what there is, what you can see and do. And so throughout the years, I went to different card readers, became involved in different spiritual groups, and I really, that expanded my whole belief in it. And so I think the fun part of it for me is to know that when somebody passes, and that's with my son certainly, that happened, we get to talk to them and we get to realize they're right with us.
Yes.
You know, and I feel sorry for people who are, as they get older, they feel that they're so alone because they're never alone. But you have to be able to recognize that. And whatever. So.
Well, you have this one book. This is an incredible book. It's called Prime Threat: Shattering the Power of Addiction. Can you see that? Yeah, there we go.
Yes.
There you go. But this book was written with your son. Now, when we say written with your son had already passed. He was on the other side.
Right.
And so tell us a little bit about this book and how that came about and how you communicated with your son to write this book.
That was, it took several years to do that. It took me probably about almost 5 years to get it started and get it finished. And I worked with a friend of mine who is a channeler, and she channeled him in. And we would have different sessions. And so we had the sessions, I think, over a 3-year period. And I got to ask him everything I wanted to ask him, and which is what the book says. Everyone thinks, oh my heavens, it's the saddest thing and whatever. But see, for me, it is not. It's a chance for me to find out more about addiction, why. I mean, everybody who has lost somebody, you know, what would have made a difference?
Mm-hmm.
And as my son said, not much, really.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, when you get so heavily involved in addiction, it's hard to escape. There's no question. And so what this book is about is to show you different ways that you can shatter that so you can get out of the snake pit of addiction, really, the downfall of it. But it was fascinating because I always ask for signs, and I get them all the time. You know, a light will flash. That's one of the easiest things they can do, by the way, I'm told, is to flash the light so that you will know that they are there. But there are other signs in all of that you can become aware that you're getting messages from above. I have a friend who always knows when her angels are around because she has a white feather float down to her.
Wow.
I mean, and there's no reason for it. There's nothing around to cause it.
There's no bird around with white feathers and it just drops off. Yeah, that's fascinating.
So if we all look for the signs, they are there. And but I think what the book did for me is really made me get back into alignment, really. Because when you live with somebody with addiction, you get to ride the merry-go-wheel, the merry-go-round, whether you want to or not, you do.
Yeah.
And so for me, I had to get my life in order. And that's when I wrote my first book, The 7 Major Chakras, Keeping It Simple. And that book is really more like a little reference book. It tells you about the different chakras, what they do, its energy.
Yes, I have that book and I love it because I never understood the chakras until I read your book. And it really defines how they affect your life.
Yes. Well, mine were all, as you can imagine, all over the place. And so I really needed to, get back in order. And so that I will always be grateful for. And then when I was finished with this, that's when I decided, good Lord, Joan, let's have fun, Yeah,
because this was a deep book. This was a lot of work and a lot of sharing of intimate feelings.
Yes. And, as mothers, we all like to think, gosh, we do such a good job with our kids. And when they go off in there, they have problems, then we have to look at ourselves, right? Mm-hmm. What's my part in it? Nobody does anything by themselves because we, as people, are connected, right? Certainly through the energy. But so it was very humbling, actually, very humbling. But it was something that I am glad I did, acknowledged. And then was willing to share it.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
so that's
I think there's a
good.
lot of people in the world who will get a lot of good information from this book, because the power of addiction, it's out there. A lot of people are addicted.
Oh,
I mean, they're addicted not only to drugs, people are addicted to food, they're addicted to negativity, they're addicted to a lot of things.
look at our life today, Judy.
I know.
I know we are so unhappy. We're so angry as a society. And that's the lower energies, and that's where addiction lives. If you're full of love and light, then you're up in the higher energies, so it's easier to step away from addiction.
It's called Prime Threat, Shattering the Power of Addiction. So, can you see it? I know I keep asking you, can you see it? And you can't tell me if you can see it or not, but I want to make sure you can see it. Okay? All right. And then I want to talk to you about this, because this is really fascinating too, Joan. Joan's written a series of books, the Death Card series.
Yeah.
And this one is number 6 in the Death Card series, and it's called Death Comes Calling. I've got my hand over it. Death Comes Calling. And I can't wait to find out what this one is about. But you have 5 others. I'm just fascinated that you could make a series of 6 books on this subject. It's amazing.
Well, they become part of my family, which probably sounds a little silly, but she the main character is Rosie, and she really has become my friend, which sounds even stranger, probably. But,
Well,
but
as long as she doesn't start answering you.
Yes. And they've become like a family that has lived next door that I really, really liked. And because this is the last book in the series, it's like they've moved away.
Aw.
And I'm missing them a little bit. But at any rate, so this is the final book of the series.
And what's it about?
And it really finishes her life. She has different episodes that happen during her lifetime. And she ends up kind of in the stage where we are, kind of, and where she is now retired and kind of doing her own thing and not too sure she likes getting older.
I can identify with that.
Me too.
I'm not so sure I like it at all.
Oh, dear.
So does she represent you? I mean, is there a lot of your feelings and beliefs in this character?
Some, in that I do believe in afterlife. I do believe in talking to spirits and that. But no, she's her own person. It's interesting. Because she did things that maybe I wouldn't do or think, and that's why it's so interesting to me to have your main character be her own self. And I've had a lot of my friends, they'll ask, that's about me, isn't it? And I say, no, not really.
You wish.
No, no, it's not.
I don't find you that interesting. No, I don't think we'd say that to anybody,
No.
right?
No, definitely not. No, but it's been fun, whatever, so.
But I do think that with your characters, there are a lot of things that they do that people can identify with. Because when I read some of the things in some of your books, I can see where I would do something like that.
Yes.
I didn't think you were writing about me, but I did. Well, maybe you were. Who knows? Especially the weird parts. But I could identify with some of the things she was doing or feeling or saying, and so I think that's what's really good, because when people read a book and they can identify, they can see themselves in some of those situations or those characters, then it makes the book more personal and they want to just stay with it.
Yes. Well, I think as women, too, particularly if we argue with somebody, we have a certain way of handling it, and that does come out in the book, in all the books and whatever. So I think that's true. I think probably I've gotten more information from people about the dog than any one particular character.
Really?
Yes. because
I mean, I love your dog. I've
I know
even
you do.
painted your dog.
I know.
Your dog is difficult to paint. That dog and I had quite a time. I think it took me 3 years to get that picture done, and then it didn't turn out to look like the dog because it got so many colors on it. But the dog is colorful.
Yeah, and I had somebody walk into the house and they said, "Oh, that's Sweet Pea."
Well, at least they identified.
Yes.
Okay, good.
And he
All
didn't
right.
really know Sweet Pea, so that's
Yeah, but yeah, the dog is a good character, and Sweet Pea is a character. So.
She is a character in real life, and so people who have dogs or love dogs enjoy her
Yeah.
personality.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
for sure.
fascinating with her because she wouldn't sit real still for the painting situation, but she reads. I see her with your books every now and then.
My ads, I prop her up with my book.
Yeah, and
you
she
know,
just looks at the book like, yeah, I'm right there in
Yeah.
it, reading and learning.
Yeah.
So, yeah, she's quite a character. I really enjoy her.
Yeah, she is something. She stands up on the computer as my editor. We have fun together. I mean, we do. We have fun together for sure.
Yeah. Which do you like writing best, fiction or nonfiction?
I think I like writing fiction. To me is harder, and it's harder because of the mystery end of it. So I have to, always in the beginning, and this is what I struggled with in the beginning, is that I had to kind of do the plot in the beginning so I can weave it all the way through, and then you have to make it make sense. And the book that I'm writing now, it's like, oh my, I'm not sure this is gonna fly, But anyhow, that's part of the writing is the difficult part. However, it's fun because you can create and do whatever you want. And early on, as a writer, as a person, I never thought I had a voice. Well, give me a pen or the computer now, and I can say whatever I want, and it's okay. You know what I mean?
Because you put it in somebody else's mouth. Huh?
Yes, exactly. So I can do that, yeah, for sure. But
You bring up a lot of controversial issues in your writing, things like sex trafficking and drugs and all kinds of interesting issues that people are dealing with today, and you do bring them up in the books, and you kind of find solutions for a lot of these things.
well, I think there has to be hope. And throughout all my books, particularly the Death Card series, I cushion it in softer other storylines because even with the book I wrote just about sex trafficking, Angels Out of the Dark, people aren't interested. You have to entice them to read about it because we live in such a dark time and so much going on. 4 to 5 people every day go missing here in Las Vegas.
That many?
That many, and we're in the in the corridor here in the West, for sex trafficking. But I need to really write about the hopeful part of it. I mean, you can, and to be more and more aware of sex trafficking. And I was delighted when I went into a bathroom in one of the casinos, the ladies' room, of course, and saw a sign.
Oh, you weren't hanging out
No,
in
I
the
wasn't
men's room?
hanging out, and I did make a wrong turn. So I saw a sign that said, if you're having trouble with sex trafficking, here's a number to call or whatever. So there's being more and more done to make the awareness of it because there's so much of it. And
I've seen
especially
those
with
signs
kids.
in a couple of restrooms here recently on the back of the bathroom door. So if you just walked into the bathroom, you wouldn't really see it. But if you go into the stall to use it and you close the door, there's the sign. It's very
Yes.
confidential and it gives you the number to call and so on, which is, I think that's very good that it's put in a very discreet location like that.
Yeah, definitely. It's amazing, though. I mean, we are a society who wants to feel good all the time. And so to get into anything that has any depth to it, you almost have to cushion it in something lighter.
Yes.
Yeah. or
Yes.
people aren't interested. Or
I
whatever.
think it's hard for many of us to believe that this is still going on to this degree
Yes.
in the world, because we've been aware of it for 50 years or so, and you would think by now we would have a lot of that under control, and it wouldn't just keep happening and keep happening. And you know, when you say 5 or 6 people a month, or you know, it's like, are you kidding? That's, you know, by now we should have those numbers down.
Well, that's 4 or 5 people a day. That
Oh,
go
a
miss-
day? Are you
that go
serious?
miss.
That's
So
outrageous.
It is outrageous. And what is why is this happening so much now? This and the addictions, it's the social media. I mean, growing up, I didn't have, a television until I was in junior high.
Yes.
We didn't have computers really, and I didn't have one until almost 1990.
Mm-hmm.
So I just am amazed now at what is on different social medias. I mean, people are saying and doing terrible things that I think you would never do in person necessarily. And there's a trap for everything, especially young girls and young boys too. I mean, that happens. So anyhow, it's very, very interesting how the world we live in today, right? Oh my Lord.
But I like how you take the world we live in today and you put it into a story, and then you put like you say, a soft spin on it, and it becomes positive, and the person has a better life. And I just think that's amazing that you can do that.
Oh, well, thank
that
you.
you have the ability to create that, and like you say, to create hope for people. Because when I read your books, they're very real. You know, I love novels, and when I was growing up in younger years, when I traveled a great deal, I would, going wherever I went to speak and to train people, I would study all the way there what I was going to be doing that week. But coming home, I would have a novel.
Yeah.
Because that would be my relaxing. So on the plane coming home, I could read a whole book from the East Coast to the West Coast.
Yeah.
And I could get so absorbed into those novels, with some of the really good women writers that
Yes.
came about in the 60s and 70s. And I'd get so absorbed. And you're like that. Your books are the kind that you just get into it and you don't want to put it down. With a couple of your books, I've gotten the book, started it one day, and didn't put it down until I finished it the next day, 24, 48 hours later, because your stories are so compelling.
Well, somebody told me when I was writing, don't allow anyone to put your book down. In other words, just keep writing, telling the story. So now I use that as my tagline. I write books you can't put down. So, and I don't remember who told me that, but I'm forever grateful.
Yeah. Well, you can't put them down. They're really, really good.
That's good.
Yeah. I wondered when I saw that tagline on one of your Facebook post. It said,
Yes.
I write books you can't put down. And I thought, good for you, Joan. That's confidence.
Yes, talking about confidence, that brings me back to when I met you, remember?
It's been a while.
It's been quite a while, and that was one of my things with one of your programs, building your confidence and whatever, and you helped me with that.
Oh,
For
thank
sure,
you.
for
Thank
sure.
you. I think the first time I remember meeting you was at the art gallery when I was doing an art show and you were there, you were attending, and you said to me, you don't know this, but you're my mentor.
Oh, yes.
And I was
Yes.
like, you're right, I don't know that, but I'm glad.
No, you look very surprised.
And then we became great friends
Yes,
after that.
yes.
Yeah.
But it was fun because you looked very surprised.
I was.
Yes. Oh, okay. Yes, no, you were. I thought if she can do it, maybe I can too. So
Yeah.
that was my whole thing.
Well,
So,
you can, and you've done so much more. You've done so much more. So what's next for you?
well, I'm writing a book called The Waiting Room, and it's about 3 women who meet in the waiting room of a doctor's office, and they become lifelong friends. And so, and they, of course, there's a mystery, there's a death, and all of that. and I have not decided how to end it yet, which is interesting. I am what you call a pantser writer. I write by the seat of my pants.
A pantser writer. I
Pantser.
like that. I like that. That's an interesting concept, because how many times have we met people in the waiting room at a doctor's office?
Yes.
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 But I never thought about writing a story about that. That's kind of fascinating.
Yeah, it's fun. It should be fun. It should be one of my lighter books.
Oh, good.
Yes, because the last book I wrote was Angels Out of the Dark, and that's about the sex trafficking.
Yeah, but that was an incredible book.
Yeah.
That was an incredible book.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So this is going to be lighter. They are supposed to have more fun, get together for Cosmos, that sort of thing. So
Cosmos. Have we had Cosmos together? I don't think
no,
so.
but I love a Cosmos.
Well, that's good to know.
Cosmopolitan,
Maybe
yes.
we should think about some Cosmos next time
Yes,
we have dinner.
I think, yeah, we should.
Yeah, we usually drink vodka.
Yes, we do. That's good,
We
too.
shouldn't be telling the audience,
we
right?
shouldn't be telling
Joan
them.
and I get together, we drink vodka. We don't do it that often, though. Once in a while, it's okay.
And it's all right. It's okay. Yeah.
So, Joan, I haven't asked you everything about your books, and I'm sure there's something you would like to tell the audience that I haven't asked you. Can you think of anything you would like to share with them about writing, or about contacting you for editing, or anything like that?
I do editing for people. I am also and I'm very proud of this, I am the editor-in-chief for Chic Compass magazine. So, and I do write blogs, and but my editing, a lot of my editing, besides, the commas and all of that, is content editing. I've helped other people arrange their content so that it makes better sense. So if you're interested in that, you can always find me at joanspeck.com, and you can find my contact information there if you're interested.
And where will they find your books?
All book sites. So it's Amazon, Barnes & Noble, it's Apple, you name it. So you can find my books everywhere.
Yes.
And please do find them.
And please do buy them.
Yes.
Get out your credit card right away.
Yeah.
You're always so fun. I love having you here.
Oh, thank you. I love to come here.
Yeah. I hope you'll come back when you get that new book done. I want to hear what those ladies in the waiting room end up getting into
Thank you.
before it's all over.
Yeah, they're having fun so far. But I would love to do that. It's always a pleasure, and I just hope for anybody who's watching that they take a careful look at sex trafficking and do whatever they can to, if you see somebody in trouble, to help them out or anything, because we really need to address it and end it.
We do.
Yeah,
we do need to
for
address
sure.
it, and we need to help it out. And I think this pandemic has been good in so many ways of people getting closer to other people and helping other people.
Yes.
I've seen a lot of kindness come as a result
Yes.
of what's been going on in the world.
Yeah. We live in such a divided time. It's amazing. But I agree with you. I think that people are coming together more and more. Yeah.
I think we need to do that.
I do too.
Thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Okay, and thank you for
Thank you.
watching. And please, if you have a story that you would like to share, contact me, Judy at judymorio.com. It's JUDI at JUDIMOREO.com. I would love to talk about your story. So let me know if you have a story that you would like to share. And watch us again next week for another wonderful interview with our fabulous guest.
Thank you.